So good morning, everyone. This is JoJo Bennington, and we have the Forever Pack team on, Malcolm Hunt and Laura St. John and Willie Morris, and I think that's the team that's here this morning. Dave MacArthur is off roaming through Paris right now. You know, tough life he lives out in Paris, and eating New York style pizza in Paris. Like, what's up with that? I don't know what he's doing out there. Like, pizza? New York style pizza. At least eat Italian style pizza, not New York style pizza. Anyway,
And you can have
so
foie gras.
thank
Yes,
you.
pizza.
So every Saturday we get together to talk about the the ins and outs of our compensation plan, of how this whole residual income thing works with us, to help with some goal setting, and really to cast a vision of the side of this that is the residual income piece. You know, we all get so much reward from watching people transform and have quality of life, and the things that we do health wise, and those are our paychecks of the heart. And along with the paychecks of the heart, we're lucky enough that we can attach that to a compensation plan that gives us paychecks in our bank account as well. And so we are just gathered together every Saturday morning to have this conversation and help you guys understand deeper how this all works. And so, Willie, I know that you have a direction and a plan for today, so I'm just gonna hand it over to you, and we'll chime in as you need us to.
Okay, awesome. Can you hear me good, Jojo?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I just got off the phone with Dave too. I called him up just to make sure he wasn't going to be able to jump in, and I guess what he was saying was that he was on an excursion, and it went a little bit longer than they had anticipated. So our heart bleeds for them, you know. But yourself and Laura, we've been communicating this morning and preparing for this because he gave us a heads up that he may not be able to be here this morning. So we did, quickly, and I spoke with him to stay in alignment with what he's already been pioneering us, or I guess orchestrating, in a sense, the direction that this Saturday morning call is going in. And I'm gonna have to, this is my wife's phone, so I'm gonna kind of initiate the direction that we all decided to go in this morning, and appropriately with what Dave has been doing. And then I guess Laura or you, Jojo, I'll jump back in on my computer, and then just know that I may be muted, so you might have to make me a co-host or something like that. Okay, cool. So well, 2020 is around the corner, right? And most people will wait until the last minute. That's just what most of us do, and that's okay if we want what most people have. And anybody that's on this call on a Saturday morning, and if you're here especially consistently and you're plugged in, I would dare to say that you're definitely not interested in what most people have, because it's a fact that most people are not happy with what they have, and most people are pretty much relying on something on the outside to open that door so that finally they can have the life of their dreams. And most people that are here, if you're on this call, we know that it's gonna be determined from us, whether what's going to happen on the outside is going to determine on what we decide to do. As we change, our circumstances will change. And I think that's Dave texting in. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know. Or if that could be somebody. That's you, Jojo. As Dave, maybe? Okay, all right, cool. All right, cool. Well, you got to pay attention around here, So cool. So, all right. So, as an entrepreneur, and something that I've learned, specifically some of the people that I've learned this from is John C. Maxwell, Darren Hardy, Brian Tracy, and I could go on and on. Eric Worre, just like everybody, all the leaders here, are familiar with these mentors, these trainers, these teachers, and entrepreneurs. And our goals, in my humble opinion, in my experience, and from what I learned from all these individuals, 90 days before the new year starts. 90 days before the new year starts. If you don't know what you expect in 2020, you're already starting out the gate. You're already behind the ball. And so some of you are like, oh gosh, I haven't even done anything yet. And so that was kind of the reason why we said, okay, let's do it now. I think it's like 40 something days out. So we're pretty much like in the halfway mark as far as being on point as an entrepreneur and preparing. And Digna and I, my wife, were talking this morning, and we believe that it was from the book Eat the Frog, by Brian Tracy. And it was like 10 minutes of organization can save you hours and a lifetime of, trying to figure things out. Just 10 minutes, just strategizing, planning ahead 10 minutes. And it's kind of like what we did for this call. Like we took some time and we had some communication and we prepared for this call, right? If we just had to wing it, I know that the quality of the leaders that are on the call, we could provide value for sure. But we also know we have a responsibility, to prepare. And there's a lot of value in preparing. So I'm just going to kind of go through the 5 main areas that I know to focus on for goal setting. And then what I'd like to do is, turn it over to whoever wants to step up to bat next, whether it's Laura, Jojo, or Malcolm. But these are the 5 areas that I pretty much focus on. And already, like next Saturday, which is the 23rd, my wife and I, we have Digna's mom coming in from the Dominican Republic. She's going to stay with us for about 60 to 90 days. And this is part of our game plan. This is part of our game plan. We don't tell her that, this is our family. So, she's coming here to help us with the kids, and she's going to spend time with the kids, and, and she's going to be happy to be here, and we'll accommodate her, and we'll, go out of our way. But it also allows us to have a live-in babysitter. And so it's part of our initiation of 2020. And so we get to close 2019 super strong with somebody that, we can, without a shadow of a doubt, make, know that the kids are in good hands, right? So we're responsible to our children in that sense. And then we go out and crush it for the rest of 2019 with 2020 in mind. So hopefully you have a pen and paper and you could write down these 5 simple things that I'm going to suggest. And then also all the other additional valuable information and insights and tools and strategies that you're going to learn from the rest of the leaders. So number 1, if you're interested in setting goals, because if you do not have a goal, right, they, like the saying goes, those that fail to plan to fail. Those that fail to plan to fail. Look, if we don't have a target of what exactly we want, how could you possibly accomplish what you want? It's not going to happen. You're going to wind up acquiring things that you don't want. We have to know exactly what we want. So here, number 1, it has to be written down. There's absolutely so much value in writing it. It becomes tangible. It is no longer a streaming thought. In today's world, we have, I don't know how many thoughts we have in a day. Maybe one of the leaders, if you want to, contribute that I know there's an average. I mean, thoughts come and go, thoughts come and go. But there's so much power when we I had a call coming in, sorry. So when 35,000 to 50,000 thoughts per day, Laura, I mean, I don't know, numbers of thoughts, she just put a number out there, 30 to 50,000, and she'll maybe say if it's a day, but just streaming. But once you write it, it becomes tangible. it has substance. You kind of own it. You're acknowledging it. If you bring it into existence, right? So the thought is the possibility. It's there. But once we write it, we're bringing it into existence. Now it's on paper, or whiteboard or somewhere. Okay. So the next thing is that it has to be specific. Okay. It has to be specific. I'll give you an example. And I can't remember which teacher taught, we learned this from. It could have been Jack Canfield. So for example, if you say, I'd like to own a foreign car dealership, If you that vague about it, right? If I say I want to own a foreign car dealership, and the genie says, boom, it's yours. And you wake up in China and you're the owner of a car dealership in China, you got what you wished for, but you weren't specific. If we say, I want more money, and somebody says, here's $1, you got more money. So the goal has to be specific as you possibly can. I want to generate, $100,000 a month, passive income, residual income, leveraged income. And you can go into details as you continue to plug in here on a Saturday. Last Saturday, Dave broke down how to generate a 6-figure income. And if you didn't see that recording, you want to go back in and get access to it. I believe it's on the Facebook group, right? If not, ask for it and you'll get it, which is another principle of success. Ask and you shall receive. That's just life principle, right? So it has to be written down. It has to be specific, right? And then it needs to be looked at daily. It has to be reviewed daily. Okay, we're talking about life here. Our attention. I like when I heard Gary Vee, one of my mentors, he said, attention in today's world is as a commodity. Our attention is a commodity. Think about that. How many people are trying to get our attention on Facebook, social media, news, everywhere, our children's school, our place of worship? Everybody's trying to pull our attention because it's a commodity. It's valuable, right? It's valuable. So it has to be looked at daily, because our attention is being pulled in so many directions. So daily, in the morning and at night, the very, very, very least, like that's the minimum. But like Dave always advocates for, is index cards. And here, I'm not a fake teacher. I live by what I preach. If I don't do it, I don't talk about it. And so I write my index cards, and guess where I put it? In my pocket with my money. So every chance that I get, if I go to reach for my money or my card, my debit card, I see it. And all I got to do is just glance. If I have a moment to read it, I read it. Right? I read it. But, so these things are very significant. So it needs to be written. It needs to be specific. It needs to be reviewed daily. And then fourth is that it needs to have a deadline. It's got to have a deadline. If there's no urgency, you've lost value. If there's no urgency, you've lost value. So it has to have a deadline. And we all know, or maybe some of us don't, that let's say you allocate a certain amount of time. You want to know when it's going to get done? The last 20% amount of that time that you allocated for it. It's a known fact. It's a known fact. We all do it. It's the concept of the day before going on vacation. Think about that day when you're about to go on vacation. It's the day before vacation. we will work our tails off and do much more than we've done in the past 11 months, right? Because when we go on vacation, we do not want to be bothered. So we go above and beyond in that last hour. But there's got to be a date. There's got to be a date, and it stretches us, right? It stretches us. It puts us in a position. There has to be some kind of pressure, right? And I'm not about, listen, I actually went my first experience in network marketing, and about 6 years into this profession, and I knew I knew I wanted what I wanted. I knew I was capable. I knew I deserved it. It was so many things, right? And then we joined a company, and I set a goal, and I literally got sick over it. Okay. I had ulcers. I got ulcers over my goals. I'm not advocating that. But the good news is that those ulcers did not kill me. But I did stretch and I did grow as an individual. Maybe I went a little too far. But I also advocate for those that are willing to go as far as they can to accomplish and find out how far they really could go. Because if you don't attempt to go as far as you like, oh, okay, the risk is going too far. That's the risk of going too far. If you don't take the risk of possibly going too far, how could you possibly find out how far you could go? Never. So, people can, we have a way of, hiding behind our excuses and our stories that we tell ourselves and these rationales, that are just not going to get us where we really can go. Not just for us, but for our family and our loved ones. So for those that are willing to take the risk to possibly go too far, getting ulcers is too far. I went too far. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not proud of it either. It's just, I just was willing to take that risk to go too far. Thankfully, I was able to rectify that situation. Thankfully, with ISAG, my health is at its best. And a lot of things that I used to think were, oh, that's just something that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. I don't have to deal with anymore. Somebody told me the other day, said, wow, you turned 51. It's all downhill from here. I said, not for me, it ain't. For sure. I mean, I'm 1,000% for sure about that. Not at all is it downhill. It's actually, it's all actually uphill. I love it. It is all uphill from here, for sure. Right? So those are 4 things: written, specific, daily, and a deadline. Okay, deadline. And then the 5th thing, and we may not talk about it too much today because Dave and I were talking about, maybe we'll talk about this 5th thing next Saturday, right? But it's going to be a game plan. Number 5 is that you have to have a game plan. You have to have it laid out. Okay, so these are really, like, 2020 is around the corner. I would encourage you to take some time as soon as you can, whether it's today, this weekend, next weekend. My wife and I, next weekend, for a whole day, I mean a whole day, 24 hours, we are going to separate ourselves from our children. We will be available by phone for emergencies. We will go to a hotel not too far from here, right? And we will hang out, and 90% of the time that we're together, it will be for preparing for 2020, 24 hours. And we already, the way we're going to do it, we have a few hours, in separately that we get to kind of reflect on our own, and we get our personal goals together. And then we're going to get together, as a couple, and we're going to, share our goals, and we're going to mesh those goals, and we're going to start to, hammer out a game plan, for 2020. And we're going to take 24 hours, and and then on a weekly basis, we review that. On a daily basis, we're focused on that, but on a weekly basis, my wife and I get together and we talk about that. On a monthly basis, we talk about that. We need to keep our eyes on the prize, and some things might need to be adjusted. Of course, it depends, but we never change our goal. Even when we say, oh my God, that's ridiculous, we'll never make that. How do I know? How do I know that, okay, I got a certain amount of gold? How do I know that maybe somebody that came in, they might introduce me to a person like JoJo? How do I know if a person I brought in might introduce me to somebody that might introduce me to a person like Laura, or to a person like Malcolm, or one of the leaders? You don't know. We really don't know. It's like walking down the street, and you're looking down the street and you're like, I don't know if this street's going to take us where we really want to go. And then you get to the corner and you look to the left and you're like, holy cow, that's what we were looking for. We knew it was down this path. We just couldn't see it from where we were standing at the time. Never change your goals. Once you set it, it is set in stone. Whether we accomplish it or not, maybe the purpose of setting that goal is because we saw it, we believed it, we wrote it down, and maybe it was just to grow with everything that we could possibly do, right? To build towards that, right? And maybe that was just the preparation stage, but you do not lower the goals, because, and I'll end with this, I'll end with this, is that, and I heard it from Les Brown, and I've heard it from several leaders. See, the problem is not that we don't set our goals too high. There's no such thing. That's really a problem. People are afraid we're afraid to set our goals high, because we've been hurt so much in life. We've been lied to so much in life. We believe so much stuff that's not necessarily true in life. So we're like, I don't want to set it too high, right? But I bought into, if our goals don't scare us, they're not high enough. They should absolutely scare us, like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. Because how is it a worthy goal if you know you can do it? That's not even a goal. That's not even a goal. So the problem is not that we set the goals too high. The problem is that we set them too low. And then we wind up hitting it and we think we did something. We didn't do anything. Especially if we knew we could do it. That's not impressive. No books haven't been written about that, right? So that's my input, to kind of just open up. And I don't know how long I went for, but hey, if you didn't get anything from what I shared, which I hope and confidently feel that you could have, stick around, because we have some incredible leaders that will be adding to that concept. So JoJo, I'll turn it over to you, and whoever wants to jump in at that point and contribute to the topic of setting goals.
I think we're going to turn it over to Laura.
Awesome.
Hey,
yeah,
Willie,
she said
good
she's
job.
fired up about goals.
Great job,
Actually,
Lily. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Laura said she's got some powerful stuff to share about goals.
Willie, you fire me up. Like, I feel like my heart's fluttering.
It's the New Jersey. It's the New
Jersey blood.
Go for it.
I love it. Jersey strong. That was amazing. Thank you. And this is literally one of my favorite topics. So when we were talking about this before the call, I was like, yes, I would love to share some insight. First and foremost, I believe everybody has the same tools inside of us, right? We all have the same God-given tools inside of us in this moment right now. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and success can be a lot closer than you may think, right? So if you want to access more success, well, whatever's ready is already ready for you. Like, I love that quote. And stepping into and really allowing it to happen. So when you do, like Willie said, walk around the corner and you're like, oh, I've been waiting for you. Is your vision so clear that you notice those things? Like when he said, set a big goal, is your vision so clear to you that when you notice those things that would fit into your vision, they're like a magnet towards you? Or are you spending your days trying to shove like the puzzle pieces of your vision and make things fit and control everything yourself? That's coming from a neediness, that's coming from a lack. So what I really want to speak to is how to flip really your energy and more of your emotional state and mental state to align to those goals. And I want to say also that the Forever Pack, inside the Forever Pack, when you log in with one team, and I did notice this morning, the button's sticky again. We got to press it twice. Okay. Are you willing to press the submit button twice to get into the back end of the training of Forever Pack? Do it. Okay. Press once, press twice. And when you go to the next level of training, like there's steps 1, 2, and 3, welcome call, compensation plan, how to bring it to market. But when you go to the next level steps, when Dave is going through the 3x5 index cards, or, the next level leadership kinds of videos in there, that is the juicy sauce. Okay. That is exactly, it outlines stuff and it talks about so much of what holds us back sometimes. So that's kind of what I'm going to speak to. I'm going to talk to 3 points. But I first want you to get into that state of like, literally we're about to hit a new decade. So whatever you're thinking, think bigger. And, Dave in some of those videos talks about the rubber band snapping back, because sometimes you stretch yourself so much that you feel really far from that goal. And so many times people look up at their vision board and it doesn't maybe give you the best feeling. And I know, whatever you're feeling is what you're going to then receive and like justify. So if you're feeling like you look at your goal and you feel really wishy-washy about it, and then you try to go into massive action to justify and kind of undo that feeling, you're digging yourself deeper. Okay. So I'm going to help you flip this really emotionally in 3 ways. Number 1, I'm going to help you clarify the goal and really recognize what you truly want, because, he made a great point. Do you know what you want? And there's 2 types of goals. There's lifestyle goals, which are continuous, which really, to me, that's what I love to go after. And you have to recognize the kind of maybe goal setter that you love to be. I have this checklist I gave myself years ago, and I suggest everyone does this once they clarify their goals. Go out to the store, buy a card. Whenever I'm mindset coaching anybody, and I coach a lot of kids too, I'm like, that's one of the first things I tell them or their parents to go do. I'm like, go out to a card, go get a card, a congratulatory card for yourself that says like, you did it. Pick it out. Okay, mine is kick ass and take names. St. John way. Get yourself a congratulatory card today, and inside it says way to go. But there's 2 kinds of goals. So in here, I put my like lifestyle goals, the goals that I am of who am I even when I hit the second style of goals, which are achievement goals. Okay, the ones that he was talking about, like have a deadline, make a game plan, have achievement goals that are like, when I reach this, we'll take a trip to Disney, we'll do this, like something that's a marker in the sand. Those are achievement goals. But the like those drive like reds, and those drive people who love steps and measurable things and like take action, like people who love to plan. Sometimes those freak people out and send people the other direction, because again, you feel so far sometimes from an achievement goal that like Willie said, you might set it too low so you don't disappoint yourself. But if you are that person, you might really flourish in more of what I call lifestyle goals. So lifestyle goal is really a continuous goal of how you would be living your life in the next version of yourself, in the next chapter for yourself. So this is really step 1 for me, for you, which is to clarify even the kind of goal setter that you love and have both. What are your lifestyle goals? Mine, again, they've never changed. They've literally never changed. Rock every decade. Look and feel better with every decade. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Now I know it to 120, right? Like rock every decade, look and feel better. You did it. And, that's my congratulations to myself. To Laura from Laura. Okay. Like to you from you in third person. I was like, congratulations. You look and feel better with each decade. You fuel your body, your mind. And I go into my depth of detail. Like he said, be specific. So I go into detail. You're vibrant, you're youthful as you age, you fuel yourself, you take the time to nurture, knowing that if you're in your best self, you're giving your best to the world. So that's a lifestyle goal. Another goal, that I have from a freedom perspective here that Isagenix fits so well into is I'm fully there for life's precious moments, not just the big milestones. I wrote that in my first ICU workbook because I was not living this. Okay. And this is where, again, you're going to clarify your goals of who you want to be from an ongoing perspective. So I realized I just want to be there with my kids. I want to live life on vacay, right? And I want to be there for life's precious moments. Well, that's an ongoing goal. I don't want to not live that one day, but that's not like a a stamp in the ground and then I can go celebrate. Those are ongoing, continuous life goals. But you still make a game plan around those too. What are you doing to move yourself into those goals? So I'm going to go through these 3 steps, but this first step for you is really clarification on a little bit like deeper into that goal setting. What are your lifestyle goals? Like, have your top 3. What are your top 3 achievement goals? And then follow that same 5 steps that Willie said. Be specific, da, da, da. Now with the lifestyle, again, those are no deadline, which is kind of fun, okay? And then clarify it in terms of what you clearly don't want. So when you're looking at your vision board or you're having a Pinterest board and you're looking at all these, like, I love to look at like barn houses, and stuff, I look at them and I'm like, it was because I clearly didn't want to live like in the apartment that I was living in, okay, at that time, or something like that. So you first have to say, like, what is it clearly? I call it a flip it list. Like, I make a flip it list and literally just fold a piece of paper in half. And on one side, in order to get really clear, and what I say, draw the line in the sand, on one side, you put on that left side of the page everything that you do not want. Okay, and like, let it pour out. Situations, like things, like whatever, like just pour it out. These are all things I do not want. Okay, and then I draw arrows from one side to the other, and I call it flip it. If you guys watch my broadcast, like, you see that I have a lot of these things that are just like, flip it, flip it. That is you're exactly where you're meant to be here in this moment. I experienced this hardship. I really know I don't want this anymore. Man, it's the end of 2019. Why am I in the same position that I have been in, maybe all these other years? Well, it's probably because you're working off that list, trying to undo that left side of the page. So make sure you write down all the things you don't want with the clear intention of, thank you for all these things I don't want. These are no longer my goals. They brought me to where I am today, but I'm ready to draw that arrow and clarify again and write it down, be specific on what I do want thanks to all these things. Then you're not going in an effort, and this is why I say step 1 is clarify it. You're not going to always go into action or massive action from a point of undoing. Okay, I just had this conversation before, like, you can't go into, and I noticed this when First Forever Pack came out. Like, you can't go into foreverpack.com and start saying, I'm going to run with this business model in an effort to undo because other things didn't work, because then you're still in the energy of conflict and all of the things that, like, you don't want. You have to first be like, I want the simplest route to abundance. I want the simplest plan ever to help people unlock, their dreams. This is what I want. And then Forever Pack shows up. No coincidence. Then you go into action, make your achievement goals, all that. So really clarify what you don't want, recognize it, appreciate it, thank it, say that old me gave me the courage to become this next version of myself. Now I'm going to go into extreme massive action on this side of my page. And you make the game plan 100% in that positive energy, which fuels the goal and desire and dream versus again, undoing what you don't want. So that's huge, 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 because if you don't do that step, people put so much energy into the lack and neediness and control and overwhelm and all that. Okay, so that's huge. Notice those things. And then that's the second piece, is then notice daily, then based on, if that's your vision and have a really strong vision before you even make your goals, right? What is that vision, which is pretty much in line with your lifestyle goals, how you're living your life. Then have your achievement goals match that. So you could be like, wow, well, in order to live that, I might need to put this stamp, that stamp, that stamp. And then on a 30, 60, 90-day game plan, what are you doing every single day? Step 2, like he said, your attention, right, is everything. And I love that quote, that all distractions are created equal. Where is your focus going? Okay, I tap into insight. I say insight's more powerful than eyesight. I tap into my insight, and I really imagine when I look at those 3x5 cards. I did it this morning. I look at all of my visions. I play music in the background. I imagine myself in it. It gets me so excited. Okay, then I go into action. I spend like sometimes up to 40 minutes a day on that before I do anything else. And it's the most important work that you can do for yourself. So if you say, I don't have time, and then you're not getting ahead, then like what he said, like, you don't start changing everything else, change yourself. Before you start changing anything else, change yourself. And notice where your focus is going. If your focus is going on the left side of the page towards things you do not want, and you're trying to hit a goal, it doesn't feel good to you. That's your intuition telling you, don't make a choice in this direction. If it doesn't feel good, stop and realign yourself. Okay, because most likely you're putting energy into that side. So that's one thing, and it's usually I see that people are putting a lot of energy into stuff they can't control versus what they can control. But when you're working off what your achievement goals that match your lifestyle goals, that match that big vision on your vision board, that starts to feel really good, and you stop looking at the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Okay, so that's huge. So step one was clarify, and make the flip it list and know what you're doing. Step two is notice where your focus is going all the time. The more you become consciously aware of your focus, the more you will be able to control your thoughts, control your feelings and emotions that go with those thoughts, and then your actions and behaviors that follow those two things. Okay. And then the third step is finding it in the now. Whatever you want, like I live in Malibu, life on vacay right now. I'm looking out on palm trees and a pool and warm weather and 80 degrees this weekend. And it's not where I was living years ago. Absolutely not. So what did I do years ago? I started to recognize that what did I want? I looked at my lifestyle goals and I'm like, I want to fully be there with my kids. I want to live life on vacay. I want to block every decade. I want to do this. How can I not feel that void? And it's accessing it now. So you start accessing it now by looking at your visions and the 3x5 cards and like making it match your fun Pinterest boards or whatever you're doing for your visions and stuff like that. Spending time in your imagination. But then it's in your active life. You have to access it now. It will accelerate you towards your goal. So the last piece in finding it in the now, if I could not afford a family vacation, which I could not, I literally was saving $20 to even get, my son a birthday present, allow him to get to a birthday party and buy a kid's gift. It was not in that realm for me. So everything was tight or even coming from lack. So it's really hard sometimes when you're feeling the lack to move into this. And the juicy sauce of this third step is so juicy, is that if we couldn't go on a family vacation, we would go for a free hike as a family down the road. And I would turn the pine trees in Colorado into palm trees in my brain. And I would still smile and laugh with the kids and access that happiness that I knew was there right now. And everything you want in your dreams and goals, you can access that feeling right now, whether you're driving your kid to the car, onto school, and you're hearing a belly laugh and you're like, I live in this. You can access all of the same happiness now and stop pushing your happiness away to I'll deserve that level of happiness when I'm in that beach house, when I'm here, when I'm there, when I'm in that body I want. And you know what I mean? So many people push away that happiness from themselves and deny themselves the ability to get to their goal faster. So you have to access that now. And I promise you, it will bring your goals closer to you. So that's it. Live life on vacay. If that's what you want, what does that mean to you? And clarify it. Notice where your focus is going. Don't let your focus go on the unwanted things. It's exhausting. So if you're exhausted and overwhelmed, it's going to the wrong place. And find the juicy stuff in the power of now. So thank you, guys.
Hey, Laura.
Good stuff.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got a question. You talked about your morning ritual. And, I kind of, it's kind of freaky really to think about my morning ritual. I started at 5:30 this morning, and at 7:30, I'm still going with it, just going through all the morning stuff. And it's amazing how that morphs into from an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours, and what do you do in the evening? Because, I was listening to Neville Goddard, and I was going to buy that for my daughter for her birthday. and it's free on Spotify, by the way, if you have Spotify. And and he talks about assuming the wish fulfilled, but he also talks about an evening ritual, okay, before you go to sleep, because he said sleep is the window into your subconscious mind, okay? And I realized as I listened to that I was kind of not, I was doing my morning ritual and getting ready for my day, but I was neglecting the evening ritual, you know, and I've kind of returned to what I used to do, which is 10 minutes of meditation and prayer, my affirmations, you know, or your cards, or your, I love that greeting card you've got, that you've written to yourself, that kind of love letter you wrote to yourself. And then I do gratitude as well, because that's part of the gratitude journal, the Oak Journal, is you got to have 3 gratitudes. And but what does yours look like? Your evening ritual before you go to sleep to set the stage for your mind when you're sleeping.
Yep. So the 5 minutes before going to bed is like some of the most important. So, you know, if you're a parent, it's like before, like I like whispered the most amazing things in my 3 boys' ears before they go to sleep. You're amazing. You're going to do amazing things in this world. What are you putting in? What are you planting in your head at night? You know, and whatever you believe in. I mean, I believe that we access a lot of stuff while we sleep. I think that, you know, I think everyone has to find their own thing. Definitely, if you're doing bedtime belly buster, having a hot ionics tea, like the first unwinding, everything in life is habit and ritual, right? So you can create a new habit and ritual. But the unwinding for me happens with some, like, what did I do great today? You know, what would I, if I had another opportunity to do something that came along today, what could I improve on? Again, not like it used to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to all these things. There's so many key pieces here that we could go on and on, because it even speaks to like how I to-do list now. I only pull 1 to 2 to max 3 things into my to-do list daily, where there used to be 100 things and a feeling of overwhelm and not enough time, you know, going to sleep at night. So there's a lot of shifts, but the unwinding for me starts with either bedtime belly buster or the hot ionics tea, where I'm really thankful and grateful and patting myself on the back for something that went well. And that starts for us at dinner time with our kids. I mean, we go around the dinner table and saying, what are you proud of today? You know, not what did you learn today, but what made you smile today? So things, I mean, everything's routine for us, and our kids know certain things that we do as routine. But nighttime routines for me is I have another card right by my desk that has like me at the beach and stuff. I have another card. This is my business one. So sometimes I read the cards that are really specific to me for the lifestyle things that I want to achieve. But like, this is my business one, because I see our business, this is Forever Pack, growing in rows like this. So it depends on like what I'm working on. I love the cards, but I definitely read something. I mean, I have my own meditation and stuff that I do. And, you know, I believe 100% in what the energy you fall asleep in is the energy you wake up in. So to really start the night before is really truly where it begins. So I don't have, it's more of like a 10-minute practice for me at night. That's it. And then Scott and I have a rule, like, don't go to bed angry, period. You know, it's just our rule. So we always go to, like, if there's anything that we need to work out, we work it out. Like, just everything is just, you have to set, again, some lifestyle goals and achievement goals even around that.
Hey, I wanted to add something really quickly to that. That was a good question, Malcolm. And I know, Laura, you mentioned something about, you know, being careful with the to-do list, however, and I know you know this as well, but, you know, for the sake of setting goals, I won't go to sleep until I've already took a look at what are the most important things for me to do the next day. Because when I wake up in the morning, I don't need to rethink what do I need to do. I don't need to flop around, you know, a lot of times early in the morning, unless it's my own doing. All I have to do is go through my morning ritual, which I it could vary. Like Malcolm said, it could vary, but I also like to time that, to some degree. And it's really simple. I don't know if you've, Laura, if you've ever read the book Miracle Morning, or if anybody has. Okay. So Hal Elrod, just an incredible guy. And, I consider him a mentor, just an incredible person. And so he offers a simple ritual in the morning. And so I do that. But my point was that at nighttime, and because the way I'm wired, if I go to sleep without thinking about what's most important for me to do the next morning, I find it very difficult to go to sleep. I'm a very goal-oriented individual. And so if I lay down by mistake without sitting down in front of pen and paper and thinking about my next day, and I lay down without doing that, I mean, unless I took like the brain and support spray or something to knock me out, my mind is my Digna already knows I'm gonna get up and she's like, where are you going? I'm like, I didn't write down tomorrow's goals yet, and I can't sleep because the thoughts start coming to me. I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, and it'll just taunt me. So it gives me great relief. I sleep better, and I wake up in the morning and already my day is I already know what my priorities are. And then we implement some concepts that we learned from Brian Tracy, and the book is called Eat the Frog. I do the stuff that I don't want to do first, or I do the stuff that's most important to me first, like you just got to do that first, and discipline is a muscle. It's a very valuable. Doesn't always come easy, but and I love listening to you, Laura, about how momentum kind of gets built up when we, implement routines that are serving us to be able to serve others. We stick with it. That's why Scott, has the body that he has and he's strong as he is. Like you don't just wake up one day and like, look, I'm going to start working out and become a Scott St. John. Like you have to, and I'm laughing because I'm experiencing that now. I told Digna, I was like, my arms hurt. And she's like, you're working out a lot. I was like, I'm working out a lot. Like my muscles are stretching, and it's really cool. And we could do that in every area of our lives, physically, emotionally, romantically, financially, all of this stuff, so I know Digna had her hand up. I don't know if she's still able to contribute because I know she had to bounce out. You there?
Yeah, I wanted to say something, if I may.
Yeah, and
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, and I know Jojo also wanted to add something too. So just to be mindful of that.
3
minutes.
About 8 minutes. 3 minutes.
Go for it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Really, thank you. Amazing. And Laura and Malcolm. And I just get so much from this calls. And I know everyone that's here is being blessed this morning. But one of the things that I do as we share goals and how do we go about those goals, and we just spoke about some of the things that we do. Something that I've learned early on and I practice and I love to have in front of me is 5 areas. To me, those 5 areas are the key to my life. And I encourage anyone to just take a look at that and set some goals that you could go after, because they're going to pull you instead of, you're not pushing anything. You're being pulled by those things that you want. And it's a spiritual goal. It's your inside. Like Laura was saying, everything you want is in the inside. It's already there. We're already equipped. So it internally, spiritually, what is it that you want? What kind of connection you want with your creator? What is it that's going to fulfill your inside, right? And then your body and health. I get very distracted with people that are trying to be coaches or whatever, but they don't take care of themselves. I cannot get motivated by someone that can't take care of themselves. So especially us, we are in a health and wellness company. So we need to take care of our body, our health. I mean, what is the body that you want? Does it happen right away? No. But if you're working towards that, it's going to pull you every day to get up and go to the gym like I did this morning. 8 a.m. I was in a class because I want my body a certain way. I want that six pack that Laura has. So, but I know how hard she worked for that. But your body, your health, are you eating right? Are you doing the things? We have everything that we need in our company as far as products. And then business and finances. Where are those two areas in your life? What's the next goal you want to hit in your company here in Isogenics, in your business, in your finances? Do you want to pay off those student loans or whatever it is that in front of you? Are you working towards getting that done? And then your relationships, right? Because when your finances are bad and your health and your spiritual life is bad, I promise you your relationship are at risk. So how is that working out? What is it that you do it on a daily basis with the people that you love to help those relationships grow? Contribution is my biggest. What are you doing every day to contribute to others? How are you helping other people? And again, here in what we do as leaders, when we introduce someone to a Forever Pack, that's a contribution. We are going to change those lives forever. So what are those goals that you have for those areas? And then just set a goal. 90 days out, what am I going to see in the next 90 days in those areas? And when you have that, it's just like a complete package for your life, for my life. I really enjoy doing that. And then setting crazy goals, that's Willie's job. He drives me bananas, but I know what he's doing because it brings me to a whole new level. It takes away all of my excuses. And I encourage you guys to really go inside and say, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid anymore. Let me set some crazy goals. Let me get on a bikini next summer or whatever, right? And then just go after that. And I just really, I'm enjoying this training today. So that's it. I think I took 3 minutes. Thank you, guys.
On the money. Thank
Wow.
you.
You guys have just done an amazing job of setting out how to create this vision this morning. And I wanted to share with you, and I think that in doing this ritual for me every year, it helps me set up all the things that you've all talked about. So, and in clearing, it kind of clears out your year. So in being grateful, it's great to look forward, but I always want to look back as well. And here's some steps that I take and able to do that. So I just like do a year in review. And I go, here were all my wins. Okay, here's all the things I won. Here's all the things I did great at, all the things that went right. And then there's the second thing is, what were my learns, right? There never fails, there never losses. It's always a learn. Because if something didn't go the way we planned, we learned something from that, right? So this is always like a plan, do, review, but we're doing it in the back. We're doing it the opposite way, right? So we're doing the review first. So what were my wins? What were my learns? I always choose a word for the upcoming year that I write down and I keep in my focus. And so this year's word for me is going to be momentum. So my last year's word was bold and mighty. So I picked 2 words. But each year I pick a different word based on where I'm at and what I want to work on. And so that's just a small thing to think of, where I keep that in my line of focus all the time. And then I forgive. I look in my life and I say, where am I holding anything towards anyone? Am I holding anything towards myself? So forgiveness isn't just on the outside, forgiveness is on the inside. So did I say something, not so nice? Did I do something not so nice? Did I, do something to myself? Did I not stick to my health goal? Did I not do my planks every day? Did I, whatever those things are, did I not stick to that? So I have to forgive myself for that. So, okay, yep, that's totally cool. I dropped the ball, but I'm going to pick that ball up in 2020 and do those things, right? So I'm going to forgive everyone for whatever I might be holding on to, forgive myself. And then I write a letter to myself of my next year will look like this, or my next year will be, or 2020 will be this. And so it helps to set out those goals. And then all the things that Lily talked about, those 5 steps would go into that letter for me, right? And then I look at that letter and I remember. So those were just really easy steps for me to, one of my coaches taught me this a long time ago, and every year we clear the year and we start fresh with what's coming. So I just thought I'd throw that in because it kind of fits nicely into what you guys have all talked about.
That was absolutely perfect. That was like sprinkles on top of the cake. That was absolutely perfect. So I don't know who. Well, I guess we're at that time. So I don't know if Malcolm wanted to say anything before we closed, or anybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Where is this going to be posted? This was really, really good. I want to review this. There's a lot of material that was covered in this call. Where were we going to post this?
Yes, there was. We'll get the link up in the Forever University page and also in the ICE Team M10. So.
Awesome. Thank you. And guys, remember, there are a bunch of books mentioned. Willie mentioned Miracle Morning,
Yes.
and that was his morning ritual book. And then the Brian Tracy book that he mentioned, Eat That Frog, is incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I use that all the time when I've got tasks that I'm dreading. Okay. The Eat That Frog book, I always think of that. Brilliant. And then of course, Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret. That's a super quick book. It's on audio. The audio just happens to be about the length of my workout. I think it's about 30, 35 minutes. So I can listen to the whole book in one workout, which is amazing. And so those are the books that were mentioned, guys. Good job, guys. You're amazing.
Awesome. If you go to miraclemorning.com, I believe Hal Elrod gives you like the first chapter for free or something like that, and you could kind of watch a short video. Really great guy. You know, really great guy. You guys will fall in love with his spirit. He's a great guy. So Jojo, you're in the driver's seat. Why don't you wrap it up for us?
Awesome. I can do that. Well, thank you all so much. I know that it's so important. And the 90-day out thing, that's a huge thing because we're there now. Like we're like past that, right? So this is something this is homework for now. We need to get on this. So thank you guys so much for sharing all of your insights and your rituals, and follow what successful people do. So look at the success leaves clues always. So when somebody successful says go do this, then listen for sure. So thank you all so much for sharing. It was just amazing. And so thank you all for being here on a Saturday morning. You're doing now what other people won't do, right? So you can do later what other people can't. So there's reasons behind what we do. So thank you all for being here. We so appreciate each and every one of you. Have an amazing week, everyone. So our next gathering will be tomorrow, Sunday at 3:00 Pacific, 6:00 Eastern, to do our science opportunity Zoom and teach you all about the science behind the Forever Pack. So.
And Laura St. John will rock it out.
Yes, she will.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Love the science. Have a great afternoon or day.
Have a great day. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Bye everybody.